know the consequences. Luwen threatened. His gaze was icy. Even through the phone, Harkins felt a chill. Yes, yes. I promise you that. Hagen swallowed hard, his expression betraying a hint of panic. He knew this was his only chance. If he failed, his position as Southern commander would likely be lost. He would also bear responsibility for this incident. All the losses and consequences. Therefore, immediately afterward, he assembled an army of over 2,000 men. These 2,000 were elite troops, carefully selected from the Yixili army. Then he issued his orders. At 6:30 a.m., before dawn had fully broken, after another round of bombing by the bombers, Hagens dispatched this combat force of over 2,000 troops into the main urban area of Gaza. Attention! Attention! Upon sighting any Hamas personnel, eliminate them immediately. Do not hesitate. Harkins' eyes were bloodshot. Kill enough and I'll make sure you get promoted and rich. Harkins' empty promises. He whipped the soldiers into a frenzy. It seemed the enemy was serious this time. Through thermal imaging feeds from the front lines, Han detected a massive Yisili army advancing. Never mind. Let's move quickly. Follow the king of Yemen's orders. Sar forced himself to stay calm. Amidst the ruins, 400 to 500 Hamas fighters swiftly slipped into abandoned buildings, taking up their positions according to last night's plan. Hold your positions. Wait until they get closer before moving. Han's orders crackled over the individual combat radios carried by the squad leaders on the major battlefields. Haste makes waste. Besides, they had prepared a special gift for the Yisili soldiers. Stay alert, they could be lying in ambush all around us. The Yisili army was equally cautious. They advanced in a dispersed formation, with 2,000 men split into 16 squads. Each squad numbered between 120 and 150 men, advancing from different directions. The first squadron, destined for the city center, served as the main assault force. Its equipment and soldier quality. They advanced at a deliberate pace. They advanced slowly. They dare not attempt too much rashly. Efficient movement was difficult in the debris-strewn terrain. Some surrounding buildings still posed a risk of falling debris. They advanced slowly for several kilometers. The Yisrael soldiers began to relax, as they hadn't spotted a single Hamas figure along the way. Did they attack us last night only to retreat back to their underground base like cowards? Hagen snorted coldly. Don't let them off the hook. Since that's the case, find it for me. Find the passage to their underground base. I'll wipe them out completely. Before they knew it, the Israeli soldiers arrived at a wide street. This street, once the main thoroughfare of Gaza City. Compared to other areas, the open vistas significantly reduced the perceived danger, causing the Yisili soldiers to lower their guard once more. What a bunch of cowards. Hagens watched the battle unfold in real time through his screen, and by this point, he was furious. If Hamas kept avoiding direct combat, he'd never get his revenge. He'd have no way to report back to his superiors. Just as Harkins was agonizing over this, several soldiers rounded a street corner, preparing to enter another street. The explosion erupted without warning. Boom! The Yisrael soldiers at the front were instantly blown away. The one closest to the blast center was instantly blown to pieces. The wind swept through. A mist of blood sprayed backward. Everyone could clearly smell the blood-soaked air. Soldiers' pupils contracted violently. Panicked shouts erupted. No! They planted bombs. The commanding officer barked an order. He raised his hand to halt everyone, ordering them to cease advancing and remain in place. Panic. It seemed to be spreading through the ranks. Damn it, playing dirty like this. Hagen's eyes blazed crimson as he heightened vigilance. If you spot any Hamas members, slaughter them all, leave not a single one alive. As this area was once a vital transportation hub for Gaza City, the surrounding buildings were relatively luxurious. Several commercial buildings stood here. With the arrival of war, the buildings naturally became ruins. Diamondless and his men were now ambushing from several nearby buildings. Looking down from the windows, the open view below exposed every Israelite soldier to their sight. Go ahead. Go ahead. Seeing the opportunity, Diamondlos signaled to the other soldiers lying in ambush around them. The next second, armed Hamas fighters simultaneously appeared at windows throughout the surrounding buildings. Chapter 186, Strengthen Like a Tiger, Support from the Yemen Kingdom. Bang! At the street corner, gunfire erupted like a torrential downpour, thick and fast. The next instant, bullets pierced the bodies of the Yisili soldiers. Ah! Screams of agony echoed in waves, filling the entire street. The remaining soldiers scrambled for cover, but most collapsed in pools of blood before they could react. The fallen bodies of the Yisrael soldiers. This sight filled the Hamas fighters with intense excitement. It felt so damn good. They never imagined they'd get the chance to take revenge on the Yisrael soldiers. The firearms supplied by the Kingdom of Yemen proved exceptionally effective. The Hamas fighters' eyes burned with fervor. One magazine emptied. They immediately switched magazines and continued to spray fire at the Yisrael soldiers. Zhang Yi had supplied them with ample ammunition. Even when they ran out, they felt no regret. They were determined to ensure every single Yisili soldier was dead. Even if it meant firing 2 extra bursts for the fallen comrades, there was ample ammunition. Soon, of the over 100 soldiers in the Yisili first squad, only a dozen or so remained, fleeing in panic. The rest lay scattered across the ground, riddled with bullet holes, dead as a doornail. As for these men, Diamondless showed no mercy. He had ordered his men to flank the Yisili soldiers from behind and cut them off. Alright, we can withdraw now. Wiping out one of their squads today is enough, ha! Command center. Hand burst into laughter. But Alpha offered a different suggestion. No, wait a little longer. Oh? Why? Hand asked, puzzled. Alpha merely gave a mysterious smile, offering no explanation because he'd find out soon enough. Hey! Hagen's voice was frantic. Out of nowhere, a gunshot rang out and then, complete silence. He had a sinking feeling. But after calling out repeatedly with no response, Harkin's suspicions only deepened. He urgently called in the second squad, the nearest other detachment, to investigate. Soon after, the grim news arrived. Reporting to the commander, visual confirmation indicates the entire first squad has been wiped out. When we arrived at the scene, we only found their bodies. What? Hagen's eyes widened in shock. First squad wiped out? Just how much weaponry did the Yeoman Kingdom supply them with? Hagen's gasped for breath. His mind raged with curses directed at both Hamas and the Kingdom of Yemen. Ultimately, this mess. It all came down to the support from the Yemen Kingdom. Otherwise, those penniless Hamas scoundrels wouldn't have had enough ammunition to fire at them. Traces of explosions remained at the scene, indicating they had likely planted landmines nearby. The soldier continued his report. Just then, Harkin's pupils suddenly contracted to pinpricks. He had just realized something. No! Get out of here! But it was too late. There were no vehicles to escape in. The men waiting like rabbits by the tree Daimonlos and his crew peered out again from the nearby building windows. The Yisil soldiers sent by the captain to scout the situation were met with a hail of bang! Moments later, another dozen or so Italian soldiers met their end here. As the communicator cut out, Hagen slumped backward, collapsing straight into his chair. Numb. My whole body is numb. General Alpha, you truly saw this coming. Hand finally understood Alpha's purpose in doing this. Alpha smiled. Nothing much, just good luck. Of course, that was just modesty. As a battle-hardened super soldier, Alpha possessed extraordinary battlefield intuition. Knowing a soldier had suddenly gone offline, Yisili Ligi would most likely send someone to investigate. This was the perfect time to lie low. Adding these 20 or so men, today's tally of Yisili soldiers eliminated reached 150. It could be called the day with the heaviest casualties for Yisili soldiers. All Hamas fighters. Thrilled. Some even shed tears of joy, remembering their loved ones killed by Israeli bombs. Armed with today's experience, in the days that followed, Hamas handled Israel's massive invasion with ease. Zhang Yi knew Hamas lacked air power, so he urgently sent them another batch of drones, along with specialized technical advisors. With the addition of swarm drones, Hamas gained a significant edge, operating with ease and confidence. Often, Italian soldiers would be caught completely off guard, mowed down by drone fire before they even realized they were under attack, leading to their complete collapse. After several days of this, Israeli casualties exceeded 1,000. This outcome directly shattered Harkin's resolve. He had believed that the overwhelming force at the border would at least inflict heavy casualties on Hamas, allowing them to be crushed in one decisive blow. But the outcome proved his thinking was far too simplistic. With the support of the Yemen Kingdom, Hamas combat effectiveness skyrocketed, achieving a qualitative leap. Useless. Didn't you say Hamas would collapse completely within a week at most? You must give me an explanation. One piece of bad news after another. Lu Wen's mental state completely collapsed. It was indeed a total collapse, but it was theirs. Advances were at a standstill. Instead, casualties had reached levels Yisrael could never accept. Several main battle tanks were also lost in the process. Hagens hung his head, unable to utter a word for a long while. He wanted to explain, but no excuse came to mind. Enough. No more excuses. You're relieved of your command. You will bear full responsibility for this incident. Luan, furious, slammed the thick stack of documents. With a forceful slam onto Harkin's desk. I'm sorry, Mr. President. Please give me one last chance. I only need a week, no, 3 days at most, and I'll give you a satisfactory answer. Hagens panicked. His face was etched with fear. But unfortunately, Luan wouldn't give him a chance to wriggle out of it. The chance had already been given. Several guards entered the office, escorting Harkins away to prison. Zhang Yi activated the descent function. At that moment, he was resting in the lounge. Several Arab descent maids attended to him with attentive care. Their graceful figures, charming and captivating. Zhang Yi finally understood what the old ancestor meant by exotic charm. So much more material? Reviewing the video message sent by hand, Zhang Yi posted it online as usual. It sparked another global sensation. From the very beginning, when Yisili prepared to launch a full-scale offensive against Gaza, the global community held little hope for Hamas. Many even believed that if Hamas could hold out for more than half a month, it would be nothing short of a miracle. As it turned out, they had underestimated Hamas. Hamas demonstrated extraordinary resilience, forcing Israel's regular forces to gain no advantage whatsoever on their territory. That alone would have been bad enough. After a week or two, Israel began showing signs of potential collapse. Chapter 187, Direct Confrontation, shifting the focus. Shortly thereafter, Israel deployed an additional army corps to the Gaza region, along with 3 special forces squads and a temporary mobilization force exceeding 3,200 personnel. All signs pointed to one thing. Yisili had realized that the initial troop deployment was utterly inadequate. Otherwise, reinforcements would not have been necessary. Zhang Yi lavishly spent over 30 million. He aggressively disseminated news and videos documenting Yisili's dire situation across the globe, all of which yielded significant results. Good heavens, is this really Yisili? How could they be beaten so badly? Countless people sighed in disbelief. Yisili has a nickname. He was known as the Little Tyrant of Jiangdong, because in the previous Jiangdong wars, Yisili had always won with overwhelming superiority, leaving the Jiangdong nation in utter disarray. Thus, in the minds of many, Yisili held an almost invincible status in Jiangdong. But this time, everything pointed to Yisili not only suffering a silent defeat at the hands of the Yemen kingdom and being unable to act. Even Hamas in Gaza had the audacity to ride roughshod over Yisili. The myth is shattered. It felt utterly unrealistic. Even if he wasn't Hamas's match, shouldn't they at least be evenly matched? But none of that happened. Instead, within just 1 week, Hamas recaptured most of the territory in the Gaza Strip. Hamas has recaptured most of it. No offense, but Israel really sucks. Of course, they brought it on themselves, invading someone else's territory and committing genocide. This news puts me in a great mood. Gaza's fighters, keep up the fight. Wipe out these shameless invaders. Enough said. I hope the Hamas fighters ultimately triumph and drive out the invaders. I find it hard to believe no one is orchestrating this behind the scenes. Those rocket launchers and drones clearly aren't Gaza's weapons. Don't they look familiar? I swear I've seen these weapons in some of the battle footage from Yemen before, though I can't be sure if my memory's playing tricks on me. Whether they appeared in Yemen or not isn't important. What matters is that I'm certain the Kingdom of Yemen is involved behind the scenes. Exactly. How else could Gaza have risen so rapidly? I'm genuinely impressed. The Yemen kingdom is so powerful, just a slight intervention and Yisili was utterly routed? I'm curious what the outcome would be if the Yemen kingdom truly engaged Yisili in battle. The Yemen kingdom made no statement. Gaza hasn't made a statement. But everyone knows deep down that this incident is absolutely tied to the Kingdom of Yemen. Regarding the true strength of the Yemen kingdom, once again, it has sparked even greater curiosity among many. Reading the online comments, Yisili's high-ranking officials must have lost their composure countless times. What do you mean we can't beat Gaza? What about the myth of Yisili's undefeated war god being shattered? We weren't even taking it seriously. If we really went all out, Gaza wouldn't last 3 days. Lu Wen slammed his laptop shut in frustration. But he also spotted a new opening. Let's condemn the Yemen kingdom. Tell them that supplying weapons to Gaza is fueling the war. They're the ones who started this war. Lu Wen's reasoning was straightforward. They could have ended the conflict swiftly, resolving Gaza's internal strife. Then let the fighting cease. But because of the Yemen kingdom's intervention, the war might drag on indefinitely. This, in effect, was fueling the war. They felt no remorse whatsoever for invading Gaza and slaughtering its people. Nor did they consider what fate awaits the millions now living in Gaza after they seize it. It truly proves the saying, a tree without bark is doomed to die. A man without shame. Invincible. Yisili, we condemn in the strongest terms the Kingdom of Yemen's provision of weapons to Gaza. This undermines the prospects for peace and fuels the outbreak of war. We have reason to suspect the Kingdom of Yemen is now colluding with the terrorist organization Hamas. This poses a grave threat and latent danger to the stability of Jiangdong. Once again, we call upon all nations and their peoples to unite in boycotting the Kingdom of Yemen and to strongly condemn this shameless act. Furthermore, we demand that the Kingdom of Yemen publicly apologize for this incident, cease all funding to the terrorist organization Hamas, and compensate for all damages incurred during the recent war in Israel. To date, thousands of our brave fighters have made the ultimate sacrifice in Gaza. The Kingdom of Yemen bears full responsibility for this tragedy. Better left unsaid. The appearance of this statement has left the entire world dumbfounded. It wasn't about intense empathy. Rather, everyone is pondering. Why does this world harbor such a repulsive people, with such bizarre and twisted mindsets? I'm sick of it. Truly, you see everything in this life, every kind of person imaginable. The world isn't short on idiots, but how the hell did this moron end up in such a position? This is hilarious. Fueling war? What about Yisili? Would any of this have happened if you hadn't invaded? I want to say, yeah, that's just shameless. Aren't you afraid the Kingdom of Yemen will get pissed and just beat the crap out of you? Compensation? How about this, just launch a nuke over Yisili's territory. That'll cover it. Ha, you want Yisili to refresh its war record too? The moment he saw the news, Zhang Yi couldn't help but laugh. Is that why they say Yisili people are all talented, with such a way with words? They know war is heavy. This is just to lighten the mood and give everyone a laugh? Zhang Yi just wanted to say, you're actually quite nice. The Yemen kingdom, acting on Zhang Yi's instructions, responded immediately. Yemen kingdom, regarding the condemnation from the Yisili government, we hereby clarify that our aid efforts are purely humanitarian. As for the so-called weapons issue, we did indeed have an order with the head of Gaza. However, this was a normal commercial transaction. Other nations have no right to interfere. This is our sovereign right. If we must point fingers, the Lighthouse Nation appears to be the world's largest arms dealer. Why doesn't Yisili condemn the Lighthouse Nation first before condemning us? Is it because they dare not? If Yisili only condemns the Kingdom of Yemen while turning a blind eye to the lighthouse nation's arms sales abroad, then I believe you have neither the qualification nor the authority to lecture us. The wording is precise, logical and well-founded. We're just business people. What our clients do with their purchases is none of our concern. Condemn us? Then how do we account for the lighthouse nation's actions? Jiang Ye's masterstroke lies in shifting the blame entirely onto the lighthouse nation. Either condemn the beacon nation alongside us, force the beacon nation to ban arms sales to any country, including Yisili, or shut your filthy mouth. What the Kingdom of Yemen does is none of your business. Chapter 188, Tech Giants in an Uproar. But expecting the beacon nation to halt arms exports is impossible. Because the arms industry is a vital economic pillar for the beacon nation. Otherwise, why would they stir up wars everywhere? To profit from arms sales and rake in the cash. Take the past few years as an example. From 2010 to 2014, the global arms trade continued to grow. The lighthouse nation's arms exports saw an average annual growth rate of 23% compared to the 2005-2009 period. Its supply accounted for 31% of the global military arms total. The majority of these weapons flowed into the Guangdong region. This was due to the region's persistent state of tension. The high demand for arms. Naturally, it has become a key export destination for US arms. This makes perfect sense. Why does the lighthouse nation desire chaos in Guangdong? Under the schemes orchestrated by the lighthouse nation, Shatsa was forced to sign multiple arms sales agreements with the lighthouse nation for self-preservation. These included 84 F-15 fighter jets, various weapons, missiles, and logistical equipment. Even the Zhezhou region has become a key destination for lighthouse nation's arms exports. For instance, 2 years ago, the lighthouse nation sold 10 C-17 transport aircraft to the A-Triple nation. Even the Foot Basin nation has placed orders for F-35 fighter jets from the lighthouse nation. Although the final outcome of the order was never publicly confirmed, it clearly demonstrates the significance of arms trade to the lighthouse nation. In 2010 alone, U.S. foreign military sales reached a staggering $31.6 billion. Government-to-government arms sales totaled $25.2 billion, while non-defense security cooperation amounted to $6.4 billion. In 2011, U.S. arms exports surged to $66.3 billion. This represents explosive growth compared to the previous year. The United States holds a pivotal position in the global arms trade. It is one of the lifelines of the United States. The Anglo-Saxon people who control the United States will spare no effort to ensure the smooth operation of its arms business. Therefore, it is absolutely impossible for the lighthouse nation to abandon its arms trade. This maneuver. Yisili immediately found himself on the defensive. Left speechless, he was thoroughly flustered by Jiang Ye's sharp retorts. The official response was utterly stumped. This had the global online community had a field day. Ha, this is hilarious. What a brilliant move. Yisili doesn't want arms sales? Well, first arrest the biggest arms dealer on this planet, then we'll talk. Unbelievable, this response is absolutely brilliant. And they even dragged the beacon nation into the fray for good measure. Ha! This is interesting. I'm curious to see the expressions on the faces of the Yisilians when they see the statement. You've gone too far. We Yisilians are innocent, we're just defending ourselves. Don't you realize that Gasha's existence poses a huge threat to our citizens? Damn it all to hell. Use your brain before you speak. The place you're living in now used to be Bailstan territory. And you Yisilians still have the nerve to bark like dogs? Shut up. The whole world sees clearly. Just look at how many people are cursing you now. Yisili netizen. They mustered the courage to defend themselves. But soon, they're drowned in criticism until they can't hold their heads up, proving that people with conscience still outnumber the rest. Just as Yisili was being spit upon by the entire world, Jiang Yi still had the Yamen Kingdom to announce a piece of news. The Yamen Kingdom's exclusive satellite navigation system is officially launched. It could have been released a week or two earlier. However, due to certain issues, the final debugging encountered problems, causing a slight delay. Fortunately, it didn't cause any major issues. Global tech companies were once again in an uproar, refusing to believe the news. After all, they had already made such an announcement once before. The excitement quickly died down. Again? Are you just trying to get attention? But sorry, because this time, Jiang Yi is serious. Technical personnel directly released a real-world test video of the Yemen satellite navigation system. The moment the video went live, tech companies that had been skeptical just moments before immediately lost their composure. Evaluating the quality of a satellite navigation system. There are multiple aspects to consider. The simplest is accuracy. After all, the higher the precision, the more practical the navigation. Then there's time accuracy. Many people are unaware that accurate time synchronization from satellite navigation is crucial for numerous industries related to navigation. It can be used in fields such as financial transactions, communication network synchronization, and scientific research. Other factors include global coverage, high-precision coverage in specific regions, signal stability, interference resistance, availability, compatibility between user terminals, and service diversity. Based on actual test footage, Yemen's satellite navigation system outperforms the lighthouse nation's GPS in every single aspect. Upon receiving this news, they reacted as if facing a major threat. This is clearly a direct threat to their GPS market share. They absolutely cannot let the Kingdom of Yemen succeed. To this end, they specifically instructed multiple media outlets deliberately published posts to smear Yemen's satellite navigation. It's just a test video, it proves nothing. GPS navigation systems have monopolized the industry for so many years for a reason. If the lighthouse nation wanted to, they could make GPS data performance look just as exaggerated. Fake results? How much watered-down data is in the so-called Yemen Kingdom's satellite navigation system? See how experts break it down for you. The authenticity of Yemen's satellite navigation system is questionable. Its true purpose may not be navigation at all, but rather to lure investors? Why would the Kingdom of Yemen, a nation recently riding a wave of popularity, launch a so-called satellite navigation system to deceive consumers? This is playing with fire. Negative reports emerging one after another, leaving many baffled as to why the Kingdom of Yemen would do something that damages its own reputation. But, as the saying goes, when the devil grows an inch taller, the righteous grow a foot taller. Zhang Yi knew this situation would arise, so he immediately had someone release the test version of Yemen's satellite navigation. Upon receiving the news, regardless of its authenticity, major tech companies involved in satellite navigation rushed to Yemen's official website to obtain testing permissions. These included Honeywell International, Northrop Grumman, and Gaotong Group from the Lighthouse Nation, Ojo's Thales Group and Bosch, Rueischer's Feipu Navigation Technology, Japan's Mitsubishi Electric Corporation, and Alpine Corporation, among others. Plus Dragon Nation's Magic City Waste Navigation, Magic City South Satellite Navigation Technology Group, and Beiyun Technology. These companies are all top-tier technology groups globally, ranking among the best in the satellite navigation field. Not to mention numerous unseen small and medium-sized enterprises. Before long, the major tech groups that obtained the rights immediately began testing. Of course, they weren't holding out much hope. Developing a mature satellite navigation system is no simple task. The technology is complex. Even technologically advanced nations like Canada and the United States took 1 to 2 decades to establish a complete and mature satellite navigation system. Chapter 189, Capture Gasha in 10 days? What about Yemen Group? It's only been a few short months since its founding. No matter how you look at it, this is impossible. But soon, the test results have sent shockwaves through the global tech industry. Could it be true? After the test concluded, scientists across nearly every corporation uttered this phrase in unison. Their scalps prickled. Their hands trembled. Yes. According to their tests, the performance of the Yemen satellite navigation system matched the official promotional videos released by Yemen. There was absolutely no exaggeration whatsoever. This is impossible. How did they develop such a sophisticated and mature navigation technology in such a short time? How? The Lighthouse Nation authorities immediately contacted Northrop's test personnel to inquire about the test results. Northrop had no choice but to report the facts. Our tests show that the Yemen satellite navigation system outperforms GPS in every aspect. Specifically, it demonstrates higher accuracy and greater stability. For instance, while GPS may falter in remote mountainous regions, GPS may lose effectiveness and fail to provide precise guidance. However, the Yemen satellite navigation system can easily achieve this. In terms of application, because it is more technologically advanced, it is more compatible and applicable to many existing industries. This signifies that the Yemen satellite navigation system possesses immense potential value. If major companies needing licensed navigation system usage were given a choice, they would undoubtedly choose the latter. Are you sure you didn't make a mistake? The Lighthouse Nation's official department is in a state of shock. No mistake. The data is all real. It's feared that once this navigation system is fully launched, GPS will have no competitive edge. The Lighthouse Nation, completely dumbfounded, riding the wave. Zhang Yi sensed that major tech companies had likely finished their tests, so he had it released again. The Kingdom of Yemen will publicly auction usage rights for its satellite navigation system. As for the price, it would be priced the same as the Lighthouse Nation's GPS. This could be described as the final straw that broke the camel's back. As the saying goes, it's not scary when your rival is stronger than you. What's terrifying is when they're stronger and offer better value for money. If it were the Kingdom of Yemen's satellite navigation system, being more expensive might be acceptable. Some cash-strapped tech companies would still partner with them to save money. But Yemen's SatNav? Priced the same as GPS. What does that mean? Once contracts expire, companies will likely abandon their current partners and flock to Yemen. No, this absolutely cannot happen. The US government was thrown into chaos. Emergency meetings convened overnight to devise countermeasures. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi, he was enjoying a leisurely lunch break. Alpha had already returned from Gaza, bringing back good news. Zhang Yi's follow-up drone reinforcements had established dominance on the battlefield. Even if Yisili continued to reinforce its troops, they simply couldn't take Gaza. This meant Yisili would inevitably be drawn into a protracted attrition battle in Gasha. The longer the conflict drags on, Zhang Yi wouldn't need to lift a finger. Yisili would be crushed by the war's attrition. They have other options. They could publicly declare surrender and negotiate peace with Gaza. But what would be the consequence? It would mean Yisili had backed down. The entire world would witness the once unbeatable Zhendong tyrant, Yisili, declared defeated in this war. It would be utterly humiliating. Yislir couldn't swallow that humiliation, couldn't bear that disgrace. Especially Lu Wen. Because he was the one who started this war. If Yisili lost, he would inevitably face impeachment from his own people and might even be forced to step down at any moment. Endless imprisonment awaited him. He would spend the rest of his life behind bars. Gasha must be taken. Lu Wen contacted the Lighthouse Nation once more, seeking military aid. Little did he know that the Lighthouse Nation's leadership was now as restless as ants on a hot stove, pacing in circles. If all else fails, perhaps a temporary ceasefire is the only option. After deep deliberation, Obama concluded that with the support of the Yumen Kingdom, crushing Gasha in the short term was utterly impossible. Thus, only one option remained. Swallow their pride and cease hostilities. Impossible. Absolutely not. Lu Wen stated firmly, we're just one step away from taking Gasha. Give us more equipment and we'll end this battle swiftly. We've already provided you with ample weapons. Obama sighed in exasperation. Not enough. Still not enough. Lu Wen shot him a cold stare. Don't forget who's backing you to keep you in this position. Aoba fell silent. Behind him stood the Yisili people. Lu Wen continued, if all else fails, we're considering conducting a small nuclear test in Gasha. You decide. Are you out of your mind? Obama's eyes widened. Once nuclear war begins, it won't end just because you say so. Don't forget, Yemen also possesses nuclear weapons. As the power behind Gaza, would he stand by and watch your test succeed? Besides, Gaza is so close to your Yisrael dropping a nuke there would affect you too. I know that, of course. I'm just left with no other choice. Lu Wen was well aware of the consequences. Saying this was merely forcing Obama to compromise. Obama lowered his head and sighed. Alright, I'll have another batch of rockets sent over later. Oh, and there's one you'll definitely be interested in, the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator we developed recently. This bomb is the largest non-nuclear weapon in the Lighthouse Nation's arsenal. It was designed to strike deep underground targets. Hamas hides in underground bases. This weapon is tailor-made for them. The only drawback? The Lighthouse Nation currently has very few of these weapons available, with a maximum of 2 units able to be provided. Yisrael must precisely locate Hamas's underground base before deployment can occur. Unlike other conventional missiles that can be used for indiscriminate bombing, we'll need some other air assets too. Lu Wen thought for a moment. Hamas is highly proficient in urban warfare. As if they'd received professional training. In a head-on confrontation, we simply couldn't gain the upper hand. So we have to expand our air power further and strike Hamas from the air. Obama pondered for a moment. He decided to provide Israel with an additional 25 AH-64 Apache attack helicopters. These armed helicopters possessed formidable firepower, excellent maneuverability and advanced sensor systems. They are armed with 30mm cannons and Hellfire-guided missiles, among others. Capable of precision strikes against ground targets, it currently serves as a vital aerial strike asset for the U.S. Army. Lu Wen finally broke into a smile. This was the best news he'd received in recent days. With the GBU-57M1000 massive ordnance penetrator, he refused to believe Hamas couldn't be wiped out in one fell swoop. With Hamas gone, Gaza would be left vulnerable. From here on out, it was up to Yisrael to handle things. Taking Gaza in 10 days was no pipe dream. Chapter 190, Immigration Policy, Tough Talk. Inside the Royal Palace. Zhang Yi sat on the top-floor observation deck, sunglasses on, basking in the sun. Fruit and beverages like red wine were laid out on the table beside him. Several maids stood nearby. They stood ready to provide massages and other services. Upgrading the descent function to its highest tier had indeed been the right choice. Now Zhang Yi couldn't bear to end it. But there was no way around it. Life in the Yamen Kingdom was simply too delightful, anything he desired was just a word away. And the beauty Zhongdong was truly something special. Your Majesty. Charles arrived bearing good news. The medical construction project we'd previously collaborated on with the Dragon Kingdom had been finalized, and they were preparing to send experts over. Excellent. Send someone to receive them. Make it grand, show how important they are. The medical standards of the Kingdom of Yemen will see a dramatic improvement. We can now begin implementing healthcare policies. Arrange for medical insurance and all related matters. Zhang Yi instructed again. Improving healthcare conditions. Not only will this enhance the happiness of domestic residents, but it will also attract talent from all sectors to invest in Yemen. After all, no one wants to live in a country that can't even guarantee basic healthcare. After the announcement was made, it generated significant buzz within Yemen. When Zhang Yi checked the residents' happiness index again, he found it had increased considerably since the last reading. Notice, resident happiness has met the requirements for a second-tier upgrade of the capital. At that moment, a notification window appeared before Zhang Yi. Achieved? Zhang Yi recalled that during the first capital upgrade, the system had rewarded him with quite a few valuable items. Zhang Yi checked the other upgrade requirements. Another requirement was population. It needed to reach 50 million. Then there was the economy. The GDP, or assets held by the Yemen Kingdom, must exceed $800 billion. Regarding population. Following Zhang Yi's recruitment drive, talents from all regions were widely gathered. This has led to a massive influx of people into Yemen. The total population now exceeds 42 million. Regarding the economy. The sustained production of Alzheimer's disease treatments, coupled with arms sales and exports of petroleum and minerals, had recently surpassed 700 billion. By calculation, We're not far from meeting the upgrade requirements. Seems like it's time to put in some effort here. After the upgrade, I wonder what cool stuff we'll unlock. Zhang Yi felt a flicker of anticipation. Financially, there's no need for